Hi everyone, and welcome to a new Color and Chat video featuring Hanna Karlzon. You voted for Berettelser from Atlantis, Tales from Atlantis, and since it's still May when I film this video, I thought we could do a mermaid page, this one for Mermaid. And well, since you have also voted for me to use other coloring pencils than just Prismacolors, I thought that we could use some of our Derwent Inktense for the background with this one, and also some other Derwent pencils, either the Chromaflows or the Lightfast. I haven't really decided to color the rest, but you will need Derwent pencils for this one. So let's get cracking on it. Now first we're going to prep the page, and this means that I will just find some paper to put behind, and you can see I have not colored the pages behind, but we will just, secure the page here. Then I think I will, because the motif on the other page goes really close up to the binding here, so I will take my masking tape. This is what I normally use when I paint on my canvases, when I do acrylic paint, but it's also wonderful to use in coloring books, and it's just, to protect this page from the Inktense. So now that it's done, I used Inktense for another coloring a couple of days ago, and I found a really good mixture of colors for ocean or water. And I just have to, because you can see my table is quite a mess, and you can see I can not use my right hand and arm that good because I had an accident last week. I was driving in my car and I had to, change gears, and then when I tried to change it, then I heard a little and I felt a little cracking sound here with my wrist. And when I got home, I could just feel that something was wrong in my hand, and then it's just been really weird since. So I'm trying to use this to make the wrist relax a little bit, and here it was. So I got this color family chart from Color with Claire, of course, and when I began using the Inktense the other day, I thought that I could just swatch them, and then I found out that I do lack some of the pencils. I don't have all 100 of them. I could have sworn that I had bought every one of them, but apparently I didn't. So I need the lapis blue and lime green and gold, natural brown and asphalt. I think it's a sort of a dark, sort of grayish, blackish color. But the others I have. So what I'm going to use for the water is sea blue, for some blue, and that is in my 72 set, so I do have that sea blue. And then one of the new colors, I think it is one of the new colors, because it wasn't in my 72 set, so Sea Breeze, it's more of a greenish color. And on the other coloring I used iris blue and deep blue, but that's too much blue, so I wanted to be more of a blue greenish sort of water, if you can say that. So I do think that I would like some I think I would like some dark aquamarine. I cannot remember if that is in the 72 set. Perhaps it is. Oh, it's right here. So let me just get rid of the rest of them. And then we have the 3 pencils. So dark aquamarine, sea breeze for a more greenish color, and sea blue. I do think that sea blue is the darkest of the colors, so I think that we will begin. Here it was, sea blue. I think we will begin with that pencil down here. So let's begin. And after having used my Neocolor tools for quite a while, it's a bit different to go back to the Derwent Inktense because they are not as movable on the paper as the Neocolor tools are. So you just have to get used to that again. So it's more like the water activates the Derwent Inktense, and then we have this very beautiful bright color on the page. But I did find out that I could layer these pencils on top of each other and, you know, sort of blend the colors. So I think that I will show you these colors and then I will do it off camera, because it's really not that easy to do with this thing on my arm and hand. It's really, really tiresome. And I don't know what happened. I just, you know, changed the gear in my car and then just that really weird sound, and then I could just feel that something was wrong. I do also have a pain in my elbow, my right elbow, but I don't know if it's connected. So you can see I want all of this sea blue to be down here. And now I have to make a choice, because we always have to make choices. So we can continue coloring and using the same colors within this circle and the mermaid, or we can change colors. So I do think that I would like, this color with the sea blue to go up here. And then I would like to use the dark aquamarine. Beautiful color, even when it's not activated. You can really see the green in this color. And you can clearly see it doesn't match the color on the barrel. Perhaps more when we have used water. So the dark aquamarine, all the way up. Or should we use a third color to make it lighter up here? If we switch colors, then we should use the Malibu color, because the Malibu is also one of the new colors, and it's actually, I think it's one of my favorite colors of these Derwent Inktense. I really like the sun yellow, so that is also one of my favorite colors. But I have to say that the new Malibu is a wonderful, wonderful color. And you can see it here. I have used it quite a lot since I got it. And then I thought, well, I will have to be careful not using too much of these colors, because we cannot buy them single stock or open stock, or what it's called in Denmark. And I used to buy them in the color pencil shop in England, but because she's a small business, she cannot send to the EU anymore, unfortunately. And that was my go-to shop to buy open stock of the different sorts of coloring pencil brands I have, except for the polychromos, because I can buy them on a pen store. But then I found out I will just have to remove this one, because it will sort of make a line here, and I don't want it here, and I don't want it. But then I found out that Jackson's Art in the UK in London, they also sell these and many other pencils open stock. So if I buy a small amount, I will not have to pay taxes to get them shipped to Denmark. I just pay for the price of the pencils, of course, and the normal taxes, but no import duties or anything. And then I can get them shipped to Denmark. So I have just ordered the remaining of the Derwent Inktense that I needed. The lime green and lapis blue, and then I have also ordered a couple of Caran d'Ache luminants, the castle brown. It's one of my absolute favorite browns, and I have used more than half of mine. So I thought if I, had to buy more to get over a certain limit, I could just as well buy that one. So this will be a powerful, watery, dark background, just as I like it. No see-through water here. Oh, I think I will just have to sharpen it to get the rest of the color down. Well, and in here we will take the Sea Breeze, which is a more greenish sort of color. So the rest of this colored with the Sea Breeze, and then we will begin activating with water. To recap, we used the sea blue down here, then the dark aquamarine and the Malibu, and the Sea Breeze in the middle. So let's begin activating this. So I'll just take it up here. We can start with the bottom. It's always a bit difficult to find out where to put the paper towel. And here you can clearly see the difference between the color from the pencil and then what it looks like when you activate it. I do really like this sea blue color. But you also have, when you are working with Inktense, you have to work pretty quick before it dries, because when it's dry, it is really difficult to reactivate, because you really can't reactivate it. It's not like, watercolor pencils or Neocolor tools. I think that Neocolor tools are way easier to blend and to add something on top and reactivate compared to these Derwent Inktense. That makes them a bit difficult to to work with. Also depends on the amount of water you use. Now this is a new water brush for me. This is a Derwent water brush, and I'm used to using my Tombow water brush. So I'm still not quite familiar with this one, so it's a bit of a gamble to use it here in the coloring. But you know, if I don't use it, then I will never get used to it. So I think it's sometimes a bit difficult to get the water out, and sometimes you can see the water just pours out of it. But then I have a bit more to work with. And so when it dries, if you feel that you really need some more color in an area, then you can just, you know, take it from the tip of the pencil. I will show you when I'm done with this how to add a bit more color and then sort of make the background more harmonious. And then use the paper towel here to wipe out the excess color. And of course you can sit and really try not to get anything on the motif. Well, I'm not sure that I care, because I know that I'm going to be using some colors that will probably and most likely cover the small amounts of blue that I get on these things on her tail. Let's just activate the blue one in here. Okay, and let's see if we can make a transition to the dark aquamarine. I will just take it a bit down so you can see hopefully a little bit better. And also, I'm not, bothered if any of the color get into all of these. I think it's pearls on the frame, because that is going to be colored with either some markers, or I could use my acrylic ink for that. So let us just let that one dry, and let's take it a bit up here with the Malibu. And you can see the transition is a bit more obvious here, because the Malibu is a much lighter color than that of the sea blue and the dark aquamarine. But wait and see until it's dry, then we will see what we can do about it. I thought I saw a completed page with this one on Instagram some while ago, and I think that she had red hair, or not red hair, more orangey like hair. I'm not quite sure what I would like to do with her hair and her skin. Usually I really like to color mermaids, well, not the ones I did the other day from the Airy book, because they just got normal skin color. But normally I really like to make their skin, more bluish, greenish, like the ocean. So let's just activate this one. So we will just wait a bit with the sea breeze. I just really wanted to activate this one. And here you can see I can actually go and add a little bit more water and try to blend it out Okay, this looks weird. So let me take, that was a dark aquamarine, and this is the dark aquamarine. Then I will just, you know, get some color from the tip. And it helps if this one is a bit more moist. And then you can see I can get a bit more color and put it down. I cannot move the color that has already been activated, but I can add a bit more color on top of it to make it a bit more, you know, so it wasn't as streaky as it sounded, or not sounded, as it seemed like. You can see you can just add a tad more up here. And again over here, I do think that I would like to add a bit on top of this. And also just need a bit more water here, a bit down here, more color. And also here it almost turned white. There wasn't a lot of color down here. And then I sort of pull the color a bit down into the sea blue and add a bit more color up here. Then I rinse this brush, because the brushes, I have found out, they get a really much more color on them, and it's a bit more difficult to rinse them when you have pulled the color from the tip itself than from just the paper. So now I want to add a bit more of the Malibu up here. And I just have to make sure I pull it down a bit so you can see it. Yeah, I think you can see it now. So you can see I just pull the color directly and add another layer. You can see it sort of dissolves the color straight from the tip. And I just add it. And you can see down here we really need to add some more color because it's really light down here. And then I make these circular motions, just like if I was using coloring pencils, to try to blur any lines. And I just continue over here. Then I just need to pull a little bit more water down, and I just continue doing this. And you can see that the result is a bit more different now than when I just laid the color down in the first place. And we get a smoother transition. I think we need a little bit more over here. We do get a bit smoother transition than if we, you know, just used the one layer. So that was it. And then we have to do the same down here. I will just rinse my brush tip. Oh my goodness. Well, I do still have some water in it. And then, I think I will need the sea to try to ease the transition. Here you can see it's a bit muddled down here. So I will just add the sea blue and also pull the color a bit down because it did felt a bit streaky here. It's a bit difficult, you know, when you get to the middle of the book and you reach the binding in the middle, because it's difficult to make it a really nice blurry sort of line down here. Oh, you can see it even colors the wood around the lid. And I will continue to add a bit more color because I don't think that we had enough color down here with just the one layer. So you can see here just adding and still adding a bit more and mushing it about so we don't have those long streaky lines. And a bit more up here. And we need to pull a bit more water down here into the tip. And again over here. Mush the color, if you can see that about. And again, I don't really care about color coming onto this mermaid's tail because I am going to cover this with coloring pencil. So and I haven't really found out what colors I want to use for this mermaid tail. I do have an idea, but let's see. You can see we just need to add a little bit more color all the way down here. To pull a little bit more water down to the brush tip, or else sometimes it will get a bit too dry. Add more color. You can see we still need to have the paper around. Oh, we do have a lot of just a bit more color, and also in here. And you can see how that extra layer of color darkens. The Inktense color, but also when you mush the next layer on top, we do get rid of some of those streaky lines. And then if you want to, you can just, you know, here at the end, add a little bit around where we have the dark aquamarine. Don't know what that is. It's a bit weird. So you can see the finished result here. I think it gives a nice transition between the three colors when you give it a second layer with just pulling the color from the pencil tip, instead of, you know, just coloring on the paper and then dissolving that color. So now I will do the middle off camera because I don't have to. We don't have any transitions here. And then we will move on with coloring pencils. So if we look at the color family charts for Chromaflow and Lightfast, if we begin with the Lightfast, you can see that they don't have a lot of options when it comes to blue, other than very, very dark blue. We have ocean blue and ocean blue dark. We have dark cyan, midnight blue, midnight blue 70%, and mid blue 70%. And then we have a very, very light color Arctic. Then we have midnight black, dark indigo, and so on. So you can see we don't really have a lot of blues or teal colors. We do have a dark turquoise and Pacific blue, but I also think that they are very, very, very dark if I wanted to use them for, you know, the mermaid. Really, really dark colors, perhaps too dark for my taste. Then we have a light aqua and a turquoise green, a peridot blue and a mallet green. And they are, well, I think that they are really far apart in the colors. I'm not quite sure. Perhaps a turquoise green could go well, you know, with the sea breeze background in the frame here. But the other colors, I think the light aqua is way too light, and the others are way too green and not enough blue. So I will not be using the Lightfast pencils, although I really do like them. So I will have to look for the Derwent Chromaflow, since I will use Derwent pencils only for this coloring. And here we can see we do have a lot of other choices. We do have some lighter blue colors, Blue Orchid, Carolina, and Blue Yonder. And here we can see that in teal colors we do have more options. We have an Orient, Bondi blue, sea blue, teal, mineral blue, and then a turquoise green if I wanted to go light. The Caribbean green, and I think it's supposed to say eucalyptus. It just says eucalyptus. I think it's eucalyptus. They are a bit too green, but we do have a lot of color options with the Derwent Chromaflows compared to the Lightfast. So I will be using my Derwent Chromaflow, and I really do hope that I will like them, because I have colored with them once or twice, and I really don't like the way that they feel in my hand. They are really skinny pencils, and I did have some issues with them when I did a review of them. But, I mean, they do have some really, really nice colors, but perhaps you could argue that they do have too many purple colors compared to the blue colors. Let's start with her skin. No, I think the turquoise green would be good for light skin. You know, so she sort of is light under the water. This means that and again, it's not easy with this thing on. I think that the Orient should be a sort of a shadow color. So let's put down some Orient under her. Just see if oh yeah, you can see it. Like a shadow color under her chin, and perhaps also a bit here. And also this lovely cute little fish. Bit of some shadow here. The good thing about these pencils is that they certainly hold their tip when you have sharpened them. I really do like that in a pencil. And I do think that they are okay to work with on this paper. That was her entire body and her fish tail. So let's see if we can lay down a little bit of some shadow here and there, and also up here. And, you know, I really like to give them a little bit of some cheekbones. Be careful not to do it with a sharp tip, like I just accidentally did over here. That's her lips. And her nose. So her lips must be dark. See? Her lips are dark because the rest of the skin is... and also her eyebrows. So let us just... Yeah. Okay, so that was the Orient, the darkest color. Then I said I would use teal. That was certainly not teal. Teal as a middle color. This means that I will add the teal a bit here and there. And especially around, oh, I think that we should have had the Orient here for a dark color. And especially here where we have quite a few shadows. Okay, so let's try with the turquoise green. And you can see that we just have to work in layers and light strokes. It still looks a bit weird, but as we layer the pencils, the result should be a bit more normal to look at. So there is a bit of a difference between the other colors and the turquoise green, because the turquoise green is quite light. But it's the same color as a light fast, so I will not even be mixing the brands. So let's just get some color down. We have these three colors, the darkest sea blue, the mineral blue as the middle color, and Bondi blue as the lightest of the colors, and it is still dark. And if you want to see them, you can see them here on the color family chart: mineral blue, sea blue, Bondi blue. But they are in this teal area, although the sea blue is a bit more blue. So let's start with the dark color. And she has something up here, and this is, I think this is just all of her tail with all of these scales or whatever. So let's, and this is the fish and its tail. So I just have to, you know, separate the fish from the mermaid. I am pressing hard at the sides with the sea blue, because I do want this to be very dark, and I don't want to layer. I just want it to be dark. And then I will just, you know, add a bit of this dark color as a sort of shadow color with the fish. But the rest of the tail, I think, should be the other colors. You can see we have the dark down here. I will just remove it so you can see it much better. So I have not been coloring that much lately, and the things I have been coloring have been body colors with other people that I needed to do. I have found myself a body color from for my book Twilight Garden, my project book. I think I will make a video soon with my progress in that book, because I only have, I think I counted them yesterday, it was 46 or 47 pages left in the book. And her name is Veronica, and we follow each other on Instagram, and she is, I do think she's one of my subscribers on this channel, and she reached out to me and said that she was also coloring if we could do some body colors. So I have done some body colors in Twilight Garden, still neat because we have chosen a lot of pictures or drawings from the book. So I have done, I think it's 3 or 4, and I still need to do 5. But it's quite fun because when I have someone else to color with, I get more pages done than if I didn't have it. Then I would just say, oh, well, I can always do that. And then it turns out that I never get to do it. So it's really nice to have found someone to do the body colors with. This is the mineral blue, just to tell you. And these scales on a mermaid's tail, if I had all of the scales, like if this was a Johanna Basford, then she would have drawn all of the scales individually, and then I would have colored them, differently and laid shadows and all that. But you can see some of the scales are here and then the rest of them are not. So I think I will do, lay down shadows and have areas that are lighter where I use the Bondi blue. So all of the shadow areas, they do get to be a bit more dark. And then I can always, use a white gel pen to come in and add some extra highlights. Sometimes it's just the easiest way, And I really haven't had time, also because of this has been hurting lately, but otherwise my time is completely absorbed with these exams. Next week on June 2nd and 3rd, I'm going to another school to be present at the English exams and help the teacher. I don't know what the word for it is in English, but I have to be present to witness that the exam is okay, and then I help give the grade for the students who are taking their exams in English. And then the rest of my week is going to be guiding. I will be guiding my own students. They are going to take their exam in physical education. And let me tell you, it's such a huge exam. It's almost stupid-like huge. It takes up all of my time. And the week after, on the 10th and 11th, I have my own English class up for exam. And then I have guidance again with the same class because they have this physical education exam. And then the week after, they finally have their exam. So they have drawn this physical education, and this is the last year that you can ever do that. But unfortunately, they did draw it, and it's a huge exam, and they have 2 different areas that they are going to have to their exam. Some have dance and expression, and some have basic body exercises. And then the other area, some of them have sort of ball plays, like soccer and others have drawn athletics. And the last 2 groups have drawn physical training, which can be everything from, like training in a gym with weights and yoga. So it's just all over the place. There's so much. It's huge. And I have to keep tabs of everything. And then they have to do, 2 different programs. That was the wrong color. Oh, they have to do 2 different programs in each of their areas. The Bondi blue, we take it here. And then they also have to answer a lot of questions orally. So it's both a practical exam and an oral exam. And it's 2 days filled with all of this. And I am not an educated teacher in physical education. I mean, I have taught it, but I have never had an exam in it before. So I think it's really, really hard for me to get a tab on everything. I have a colleague that I'm working with, so we are 2, but it's still a huge exam. So it has just taken up all of my time. What to do about the tail? So we could get the tail sea blue. That would be a bit boring, wouldn't it? Or I have an idea. Perhaps we should do it with the Bondi blue and then add something on top, or no, the mineral blue and the Bondi blue for the larger tail. And now I just have to find it. These colors are almost the same. I said the Bondi blue and the mineral blue. Yeah, the mineral blue. So I have not had that much time to do videos for the last, well, month and a half. That was one of the reasons why I didn't make a completed pages video for April, but I will be making one very shortly with my colorings for the month of April and also May. But you know, there is not enough hours in a day or a night to do all of the things that you want to do, especially when you have a work and you have to work and you have to make money to you know, earn a living. So that is why I haven't made quite that many videos in the month of May like I did in the other months. I have been a bit quiet. I have colored, but not produced that many videos because it does also take a lot of time to produce videos. When you are done layering and blending, you can see what the mermaid looks like. And now for the hair, and I would like to add a darker color for her hair. So I think the deep sea would be very nice to use. Do you think that if a color gets a, or her hair, not her color, weird. I do think that if her hair gets a very light color, it may be sort of invisible compared to the rest of her, which is with quite a few colors. Then you can see I can also use this color to cover the leftovers of the Inktense. I don't think that the sea blue, however, could, you know, just be the only color here. So I think that I will match it with the sea blue, which was the dark color I used down on her body and her sort of fishtail. And all of her hair is quite dark around here. Also on this side of her face must be quite dark. So you see her hair is sort of comes in sort of bundles. So you continue to color and then you begin coloring this way, and then you can, you know, make some highlights in that hair. Taking the sea blue to create some highlights, big or small. And you can see here also. And from the other side. And let's take the deep sea yet again. And then you can make room for yet another highlight, perhaps all the way down here. And also here. And then you take the deep sea. So it doesn't have to be, you know, just a highlight here or here. You can do it in several places. And sometimes you perhaps don't need a highlight, and you can just color it this dark color, and then you can create a little highlight here and there. So I will end this video now because I have almost colored most of this mermaid. If you want to see the finished coloring, watch my completed pages video in a couple of days. It will be up on my channel. Thank you so much for watching and coloring along with me here in Hanna Karlzon's Tales from Atlantis. It was a joy, and I really hope that you liked coloring with the Derwent Inktense and Derwent Chromaflow pencils. I certainly had a much better experience with the Chromaflow pencils than I had anticipated, because my first impressions of these wasn't very positive, but on this paper I think that they work quite nicely. Upcoming videos on my channel: a translated flip-through of a Japanese coloring book by Kawasora, and also my completed pages video. Also some surprise videos of things I would like to show you. But until I see you in the next video, have a lovely day, take care of yourself, happy coloring, bye!